Well, I'm so glad that you said that. I'm so glad that you mentioned what I consider to be the magic word in all of this, which is insurance. You know, that company that I told you about where my little tiny pension is now under the Pension Guarantee Fund's administration. I was the green eye shade guy, okay? I was the guy who did the numerical calculations on all of this stuff. And, you know, a lot of people forget, and it was an insurance company primarily. A lot of people forget that Social Security is not a budget item in the classic sense. Yes, I mean, technically in one way it is, but Social Security is required by law to be self-supporting, which is why people worry that 30 years out there might be, you know, a slight deficit in the benefits if something isn't done. But it cannot, when you talk about the green eye shades guys, it cannot be added to general costs of the government. Right, so we're really talking about some of the other ideas. You know, lowering the if I got hit. Look, I pay my car insurance. If I got hit by a drunk driver, and I got benefits for the rest of my life as a result, you wouldn't cut my benefits after I got hit because I paid my premium. Is Social Security really that different? Why don't people have a right to the benefit once they've paid into it for all their lives?
That's right. I mean, it is our Social Security program. It's we working people, employees who pay into it, and our employers pay into it equally, up to, you know, a cap. It's another issue we can talk about, raising the cap and
Sure.
Making it more fiscally sound. But it is our Social Security and our program with our guaranteed benefits. You know, there's no government money involved in the operation and the administration of the program. It's a wonderfully administered program with private sector money, if you look at it that way.
Well, let me, you know, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up the flip side of this, and since you mention it, which is the growing movement to actually expand Social Security's benefits. You know, the National Academy of Social Insurance, as you know, did a study. Most people, including I think a plurality or majority of Republicans, want to see the program expanded. They'd be willing to pay more in taxes. You talked about the payroll tax cap, which currently insulates millionaires and billionaires from paying as much as lower middle class and lower income people do for Social Security. There are different ways to do this and creative things to do it, but shouldn't we, it's a loaded question obviously from my point of view, should we be talking about expanding Social Security? And B, if so, how do we shift the conversation in Washington towards where most of the people are, which is wanting that expansion?
Right. You're right. You're dead on here, RJ, because Social Security benefits are modest compared to all of our peer countries around the world. They don't buy. They've lost buying power to inflation over the last 30, 40 years or so, and there are pieces of legislation, and one way to talk about expanding Social Security is to have legislation in and look at it that way. Senator Tom Harkin with Congresswoman Linda Sanchez, Harkin from Iowa, Sanchez from California, have a bill in to expand benefits. Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont has been a leader. Senator Nick Begich of Alaska has a bill in. Congressman Ted Deutsch of Florida. So there are lots of ways and lots of people. Elizabeth Warren, the new senator from Massachusetts, gave a terrific speech just in the last few weeks on the need to expand Social Security. So I think there's a small but growing, more loudly drumbeat on it's time to expand Social Security. We can do it. We can afford it. As you know, private pensions aren't in the workforce to the extent they were even 20 or 30 years ago. So more people need this program
Rich,
in their retirement.
Absolutely. I think we're going to have to hold it there, but I see that public communications is in your background too, so we're going to have to get you back and talk about how to get the media to be covering more of these initiatives and more of these stories. But in the meantime, thanks so much for being with us. We've been speaking with Richard Fiesta, who is Executive Director for the Alliance for Retired Americans. Rich, thanks for being with us.
Great to be with you, RJ.
You bet. I'm RJ Eskow, and we'll be right back. This is the Zero Hour.